Sup, welcome back to the video. And for people who are interested right now, Seele is once again at the center of discussion because Silverwolf's arrival means that eventually down the line we're going to be able to construct a mono quantum team. A mono quantum team basically guarantees that Silverwolf, as long as you have enough effective hit rate, is going to guarantee a quantum weakness onto the enemy unless they already have a quantum weakness. And we're talking a little bit more about the intricacies of how to swap in and out of characters. For example, if the enemy already has a wind weakness, then you can safely put Bronya back in and drop one of your quantum units because you're not going to get wind on the enemy, so then you're still going to be guaranteeing your quantum. Now, the whole concept of using one team to clear most content, or at least one half of the difficult content, being Memory of Chaos, is a very elusive one, in my opinion, because you're not going to be able to get the perfect scenario with that team every single time. Like I just mentioned earlier, right? What if the enemy already has wind in it but no quantum? Then you're safe to bring in Bronya. Now, are you still going to say that with all future quantum iteration characters is going to be better than a Bronya paired with your Seele? You can't guarantee that. In fact, right now, even with the leaks that have been spreading around saying, oh, there's going to be future preservation quantum coming, there's going to be future abundance quantum coming. Honestly, this is where the first problem starts, right? For the people who have this dream of in the next half a year or so, you're going to construct a mono quantum team for Seele and Silverwolf, I think you may have the wrong idea. Yes, I've mentioned in the past that a mono quantum team would fit Silverwolf and Seele very well because they can just streamline through the content. However, you have to understand that Silverwolf and Seele, like actually Honkai Star Rail is just not a game designed for you to take one team and burst through every bit of content. Now, yes, right now it's possible because there's also not a big diversity of enemy types right now. For example, look at Genshin Impact. This current abyss in Genshin Impact basically sealed off 5 of the 7 elements. You have 2 elements, maybe more, depending on the niche uses of the characters. Sometimes it's not about the elements, but the utilities, right? So understand that Honkai Star Rail is in its infancy. In fact, I think it's still in the freaking womb for that matter. Like, it's so new and there's so much to explore. Eventually, you cannot just take one team and brute force. What if the enemy has quantum immunity for that matter, right? Then Silverwolf's mechanic just goes out the window. Have you ever thought about that, right? If in the future there are enemies that are just straight up immune to certain types of damage, don't tell me it's not going to happen. It could happen, right? We think Silverwolf is like this universal character. There's no universal character. If tomorrow Hoyoverse wanted to create a character in the game called Dawei that is immune to Silverwolf's debuff, they can do that, right? You don't ever think a character is safe. So planning this idealistic scenario where you're going to pull 4 quantum characters and slap them on one side of Memory of Chaos for the rest of eternity is going to end disastrously. Is that a word? Disastrously? Anyways, focusing more on the problem at hand. In fact, the quantum mono team that most people are thinking about doesn't even work because it's very simple. A team consists, at least right now, the best variation of teams consists of 1 DPS, a buffer, a healer, or Jeopard. You can always substitute healers right now for a Jeopard if you have a well-built one, followed by the last spot being flex, meaning you can supplement more DPS, you can supplement debuffing, you can supplement with 2 healers if you feel like you need it. But for the most part, people are running double buffers, meaning double harmony characters with 1 abundance or preservation being Jeopard, and then a DPS, right? That's the current meta because as it is a Hoyoverse title, very similar to Genshin, it's not about how long you can survive, but how fast you can kill your enemies. So more damage is always better. Now with the inclusion of Silverwolf, you guys can see in my team here, I have 1 DPS, 1 debuffer now, right? Followed by a harmony buffer and a healer. So it's safe to assume that in the future, at least in the short little while, this formula isn't going to change. You're gonna need a DPS character, and either you run 2 buffers, 2 debuffers, 1 buff, 1 debuffers, or some variant of that type. Because, allow me to reiterate, it's not about how long you survive, but how fast you can kill the enemies. So now let's look at the mono quantum team we talked about earlier. You have Seele as your main DPS, you have Silverwolf as your debuff. Who is your third one? You have a preservation character and another quantum abundance character. What we need really is a quantum harmony character. We need a quantum buffer, a good buffer for the quantum element. Now again, drawing from Genshin's inspiration, HoYoverse has designed dedicated elemental buffers. Take Goro, take Sara. These are great example of niche buffers that functions within their element, but within that niche, they are extremely potent. Now, this is way too early for Honkai Star Rail to introduce such characters, but understand that even if you want to go for the mono quantum team, you're just out of luck, because that team, I'll be quite frank with you, is a weaker alternative to just running whatever you have right now. Let's say if you have Bronya or you have Ting Yun with Silverwolf and Seele. It's just the honest truth. Even if you have to 50-50 or 33-33-33 your chances of applying quantum weakness to the enemy, the fact that you have a preservation and an abundance character on your team, you're just not gonna get anywhere when it comes to really bursting through the enemies. Now, focusing back on Silverwolf, then why do people pull Silverwolf? What's the point of Silverwolf? I've made multiple videos talking about her pros and her cons. Now, I'll admit a lot of her cons actually are pretty short-term problems. What does that even mean? It means that with time, most of her negatives will start to become irrelevant, meaning players are going to have more diverse team compositions, players are going to have more access to different elemental characters that are all built up in different roles and categories that allows them to flex into Silverwolf teams to fulfill enemy weaknesses, allowing her essentially to force any weakness of your choice to the enemies, right? That's going to solve itself. Now, the biggest problem people have with Silverwolf right now is how her skill is calculating elements on your team, right? Like I said before, 3 quantum still means 1 quantum. It only takes it for 1 instance, but that becomes a non-issue, again, with better team composition and diversity. So as you guys see, HoYoverse designed this character like this. Do you honestly think that they're gonna let you guys just take one character and trivialize the rest of their game, or at least half of their game? Because Memory of Chaos has a first half and a second half. But like I said before as well, Silverwolf's main strength is her being able to flex into different teams that are not just Seele exclusive. If you're pulling Silverwolf to be a pure Seele support bot, I think you again got this whole thing a little mixed up. Silverwolf's strength is that she can go into any team, provide enemy weaknesses to any carry of any element. So meaning that if you have a Silverwolf, it doesn't matter if you pull imaginary, fire, lightning, quantum, anything, she can make the enemy weak to that. And I think that's a very scary character to have in your back pocket. Now, my statement still stands that I think probably 80% of you guys watching right now won't be able to use her to that kind of potential, at least for another like 4 to 5 months. Now, yes, there's a chance that she won't come back for a year from today, which by the time you already built up your account, be like, okay, I'm ready to utilize Silverwolf, I just need to have her. It might be a long wait, maybe another 6-month wait from that moment. If that's what you're scared of, which is technically FOMO, right? Then you can pick her up right now. But don't for a second think, I'm going to pick up Silverwolf, then I'm going to pick up Fushuan, then I'm going to go pick up the Abundance character, and everything's going to work out for me. That is a very misled train of thought. I don't know who is still perpetuating this, because until a dedicated quantum harmony character comes out, I don't think we're going to be getting anywhere in terms of mono teams. And when it comes to Genshin, mono teams didn't really come out until year 2, right? And that's because HoYoverse likes to start diversifying with playstyles once things become stale. I'm sure Seele, while it's still incredibly fun, right now it's gonna get stale, and HoYoverse, in a desperate attempt to make new DPS, new carries, new team compositions feel fun and engaging to players both old and new, mono teams will be a great way for people to hyper invest into one archetype of composition. Now, again, mono teams in the future probably can use Silverwolf as well in unique situations. Think the enemy is already weak to quantum, then Silverwolf plus any mono team is going to be superb. That's the condition. The enemy just has to be weak to quantum, and you can play Silverwolf with any mono team. That's where the beauty is, right? I think this is a great character, and Fushuan is gonna come soon-ish, but she's not gonna really solve her problem. The only thing she's gonna do is maybe for people who don't have 2 healers, she can slot into the team and functions in a similar way to Jeopard right now, being that you just have an overabundance of shielding and taunting and damage mitigation, whatever, that you don't need a healer. So for people who are pulling for Luocha, Fu Xuan might be a competitive character in that regards, right? So Fu Xuan in this case will take the place of Bailu in the team, and eventually then you're just waiting for a great Quantum Harmony character that is going to be better than Bronya. I don't know, but thank you guys so much for watching. Until the next one, urge you to stay safe. Peace, bye bye.